ready. Meeting will please come to order. Adequate notice of this meeting as required by the Open Public Meeting Act is that on January 21st, 2026, a copy of the notice specifying the date, time, and location was posted on a bulletin board outside of Borough Hall, given to the clerk administrator, mailed, faxed, or emailed to the Courier News, and placed on the Borough website. If any member believes that this meeting is being held in violation of the Open Public Meeting Act, please state your views at this time. These proceedings are judicial in nature. Only those items on the agenda will be addressed. Only comments and questions on the agenda items will be heard by the board. All questions are to be given, directed to the chair. Next item, Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next item, roll call.
Chairman Ardare.
Here.
Ed Allett.
Here.
Roberta Carpenitz.
Here.
Morgan McLaughlin. Here. Rich O'Neill.
Here.
Brian Vidimski.
Here.
John Flores.
Here.
Eric Alvarez.
Here.
Stuart Daniels.
Here.
We have a quorum. Does anybody have any conflicts?
I do.
Okay.
Do.
All right. Noted. Okay, next item.
Minutes.
Someone like to move the minutes of the last meeting? Second. Moving second. Any corrections, additions? Roll call, please.
Chairman Ardare.
Yes.
Ed Allett.
Yes.
Roberta Carpenitz.
Abstain.
Rich O'Neill.
Yes.
Brian Vidimski.
Yes.
Eric Alvarez.
Yes.
Stuart Daniels.
Yes.
Were you at the last meeting?
Oh, yeah.
Morgan McLaughlin. Sorry.
Resolutions.
We have the resolution 2025-017Z, Top Asian Fusion Inc., 156 North Gaston Avenue, Block 83, Lot 10.
Someone like to move the resolution?
I'll move it. I'll second.
Any comments and questions?
Mike, they got it all squared away, right? They got the.
Yes, we're back and forth, but the resolution is, I think everybody's agreement on the resolution.
On the resolution?
Yes,
Okay.
that's
Okay.
correct.
Right. Okay. Roll call, please.
Chairman Ardare.
Yes.
Ed Allett.
Yes.
Roberta Carpenitz.
Abstain.
Morgan McLaughlin.
Yes.
Rich O'Neill.
Yes.
Brian Vidimski.
Yes.
John Flores.
Yes.
Eric Alvarez.
Abstain.
Stuart Daniels.
Yes.
Okay. Next.
Next, we have the hearing 2025-009Z, Princeton Canal LLC, 69 West End Avenue, Block 129, Lot 6.
Just before we start that, if there's anybody here for PSC&G on Hamilton Street, they will not be heard tonight. Okay.
Good evening, members of the board.
Good evening.
My name's Mike Ogrodnik with the
Mr.
Savage.
Grodnick, before we start, when we left, the last time we were here, we had a motion and a second on the floor before you came in and said you're going to retreat, regroup, and do some other things. So for just a matter of protocol, I think we need to ask Mr. McLaughlin if he would withdraw the motion and Mr. O'Neill to withdraw his second.
I will withdraw my motion to deny the application. I'll withdraw my second.
Okay. So we just,
So thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Appreciate it. As you know, this is the application for 69 West End Avenue, Block 129, Lot 26.01. So this is an application. My client acquired this property a couple years ago. And
Ms. Carpenez, who will be sitting in on this meeting, she did have the opportunity to review the tape and review the transcript and the tape of the March 4, 2026 meeting with respect to this application. I am preparing a certification for her to sign to verify that, but she has done that, so she is eligible to sit and vote, and I presume that is acceptable to you.
Of course, yes, and I appreciate it, Cliff. Thank you for following up on that. So this is an application that we had filed about a year ago. We had had a public hearing first on October 15th, 2025. We also had a second hearing on February 2nd, 2026, and we're here tonight. We provided testimony from the civil engineer, the architect, the traffic engineer, the applicant, the HVAC engineer, and our professional planner. In direct response to the board's feedback during the October 15th, 2025 public hearing, the applicant modified the proposed project, and while the original 8-unit project remained a viable application, the applicant subsequently submitted a revised 6-unit plan to work with, to address the board's concerns. That hearing was adjourned to December 3rd, which only required a few days for us to get everything completely revised. We made that 10-day submission requirement deadline, but unfortunately, that application was then adjourned first to January and then to February. We did renotice for the February application and heard night 2, essentially consisting of the site plan, the major site plan amendments and the architectural changes. We also, I think just for the record, we did meet with the board professionals on multiple occasions to try and address each and every concern raised in the review memoranda. At the February 2nd hearing, we had basically one major amendment, which was the elimination of the 2 basement residential units. The proposed apartments were removed. The basement level was repurposed for resident amenities, including 6 individual storage units, a common rec room and a half bath, and then a dedicated mechanical and utility area. We also addressed the board's concerns related to the initial 8-unit density by decreasing from 24.2 units an acre to 18.2 units an acre, which would constitute a 25% decrease in the density to provide it with more prevailing residential standards in the POR zone. We also, by reducing that unit count, we maintained the parking spaces for the parking field that exists there today, significantly exceeding the RS-IS requirement for the proposed 1 and 2 bedroom units, and allowed for that additional handicapped van accessible stall. We heard comprehensive testimony that the project satisfies the positive and negative criteria with the requested density and bulk variances. We heard from Ted Bayer, our site engineer, that talked about the grading and the green infrastructure for stormwater management. Ashraf Ragab, our architect who has an office here in town, provided testimony about the facade, the materials, the adapted reuse of the outdated office structure, while trying to preserve the residential aesthetic of that neighborhood and that street, while upgrading the building's envelope and internal systems. It also provided the aesthetic enhancement testimony by the 2-story rear addition and the modernizing facade, which we felt was a visual asset to the West End corridor. I was over there the other day, and my opinion is that building's looking a little weathered. We also had testimony from Justin Taylor, our professional engineer, as related to traffic, and I think this is a key point that we wanted to emphasize in our closing. Our expert testified that the 6-unit residential use generated a significantly less fewer peak hour trips than the previous professional office use, representing a net, I would say, intensity win for the neighborhood. The application was then also amended to enclose the front porch, which was to address some of the board's concerns related to minimum square footage of each dwelling unit, which added 1,193 square feet of living space to the building. We added accessible ramps and accessible additions to be compliant with the code. And again, we're fully compliant with the parking, which I know has historically been a concern of the board in this and other applications. Our planner testified that the conversion satisfies the positive criteria by promoting the purposes under NJSA 4050D2, including the encouragement of adapted reuses of existing structures, which I'll get to in a minute, and promoting efficient land and a desirable visual environment, and providing for a variety of housing types consistent with community needs. She testified it's particularly suited for multifamily residential based upon its location and surrounding mixed residential and office uses, and that the negative criteria was met because it wouldn't cause a substantial detriment to the public good or impair the intent of the zone plan, emphasizing parking, buffering, design mitigations, and adaptive reuse as the main substantial impacts on the public good. The FAR variance was discussed about how the site can accommodate it. It's essentially been an office for a long time, and there's some existing improvements on the site that we can adapt, such as the parking area, et cetera. And then there was a couple of C2 variances related to the side yard setbacks. Again, those were pre-existing. We feel that 69 West End Avenue is a responsible adaptive use of the outdated office space by modernizing the site with enhanced architecture, green infrastructure, and diverse housing. This project satisfies both the positive and negative criteria for the requested variances. Ms. McManus testified. We also discussed the Atto report, which furthers some of Somerville's goals by addressing the borough's dominant demographic and economic trends. Specifically, 74% of Somerville households have no children, and 65% of Somerville households consist of one or two people, which creates that critical demand for smaller, more efficient housing rather than the large single-family homes. Also related to the zoning master plan and the Atto report, by providing those 1 and 2 bedroom options, the project serves a significant population of young professionals, under 25 and millennials, who are currently driving the demand, but facing a 12.49% year-over-year increase in local median prices. And we heard also extensive testimony about the economic vitality of bringing in residential density for small households within walking distance of the downtown that provides the consistent foot traffic necessary to sustain Somerville's retail sector. So we met on several occasions with the principals and the professionals, and unfortunately, any reduction in the density below the 6 units makes this project not economically viable due to the hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars in carrying and rehabilitation costs necessary to restore the structure. So we're asking for a vote on the 6-unit project, which we think advances core purposes of the MLU, all by promoting a desirable visual environment and encouraging an efficient use of a long vacant property since the engineering firm had left there several years ago. We also, and this was kind of the last few meetings that we had with Mr. Cole's office, was the full generator and relocating, having a full generator for the site in case of emergency, and then relocating those condensing units for noise issues. We went through specs related to the anticipated sound, and that was kind of the final touches that we had on this application. So we're just asking that the board consider this to be a positive rehabilitation of that structure, and we respectfully request that the board grant the use and bulk variances and major site plan approval, subject, of course, to the professionals' staff conditions that we had gone over in detail in last hearing.
Thank you, Mr. O'Grady. We've already closed the public portion. There's not going to be any discussion on that. It's on the board. Would someone like to move the application?
Make a motion that we deny the application.
I'll second it.
Been moved and second for denial. Discussion? Eric?
I actually think it's a good use of a vacant property. I think that the intensity lowering from what it was is also a good thing. I think that there is a need for housing in town, and I think that overall it's a good project with a minimal effect on the surrounding neighborhood. There are other multifamily properties within the area as well.
Berta?
My concern is, as I understand it, we have standards for the minimum size of apartments. And I'm sorry. We have minimum requirements for the size of apartments. And I believe the minimum requirement for a one-bedroom is 800 square feet. I believe from what I heard in the tape and what I read in the transcript, that these apartments are on the low end of the 700s. That's a concern for me. That's no space at all. I also feel if we have a minimum standard, how can we approve something that's so much lower? So that's my reason I don't support this.
Chief?
I can support the use, but I've got a problem with the intensity here. It's a POR neighborhood that's trending toward residential use, multifamily use. We all recognize that. When these changes are made, we have to look at more than just the subject property. We have to look around it. And you've got Cannon Place, which is the back door to this property. We're going to be adding, I think we have an opportunity to reduce the amount of blacktop there by reducing the parking. The parking lot could be redesigned so as not to put headlights looking at the houses across the street, because that's right where they were headed for. The question was asked, as I recall, and was never answered, about shielding the parking lot. I think that we can allow something to cause injury to a neighboring property. It's a positive effect on the building that we're talking about, although too intense, but I think we have to look at the neighbors at the same time, and that's my concern. I just think there's just too much trying to go into too little bit of property. Fewer apartments would allow for the partial removal of the parking lot, a redesign of the parking lot, and would make an overall space available for the occupants of the subject building to be outside in the yard. Right now, there's basically no place to go. And I just don't think, I think if we're looking at this as a residential use, we should look at it as a residential use. Now, I can support the concept, and I do think that neighborhood is definitely moving in a residential direction, and I think that's good. But I think there's just a little bit too much in this. And I don't think that, as I understand it, we're not supposed to be talking about by the financial impact. I don't think that's our purview.
Morgan?
Excuse me. I like the idea of converting the building from office to residential. You can tell the plan as presented will require a significant investment and improve this building, which does need a lot of attention. That being said, I am against the application for a few reasons. There is not enough green space, and with so many apartments proposed, if you look at the properties on the street, the subject property still exits to a residential street. And for that reason, I'm against the application.
John?
It's a tough one. I appreciate the efforts to reduce the intensity. I'm on the fence as to whether I think where we've crossed the line, is it still too intense? Is it intense enough to, operate? So, I don't know. I think if we're looking at this as a residential use, we should look at it as a residential use. Now, I can support the concept, and I do think that neighborhood is definitely moving in a residential direction, and I think that's good. But I think there's just too much trying to go into too little bit of property. Yeah, it's a tough one for me. I think I would end up supporting it, I think, because I don't think that the detriments are sufficient for me to vote against it.
Ed?
I mean, it's been said, I think the intensity was too much. Adding the apartment into the garage, definitely, it's every square foot is being used now, and I think it became too intense. We went outside the actual, and bonded those two together, the building and the garage. I think it would have been better off with less units.
Like everybody else said, I've got a problem with the intensity. Density is what we deal with on this board. The impact on Cayman Place, every time there's an application over in that area, Cayman Place is treated like a redheaded stepchild. We can't kind of forget about it. And a lot of things, it's small, and it's a quiet street. I could go for not using the garage, and maybe down to 5 apartments. We've taken the position, the leadership position on the POR zone over the last several years. We realize that it's in the end of its life cycle, and that more and more residential uses are coming to the POR zone. Offices are being converted into residential units. We recognize that. I'm really on the fence, but I'm leaning towards not voting for it. If we could cut back on some of the intensity, I would be in favor of it. So we have a motion, we've discussed it. Roll call, please.
Chairman Aradare,
No.
Ed Allett,
No.
Roberta Carpenetz,
No.
Morgan McLaughlin,
No.
Rich O'Neill,
No? No.
John Flores,
Yes.
Eric Alvarez.
Thank you for your time.
Motion for denial is carried. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ogrodnik.
Thank you. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, board. This was a tough one. Yeah. Yes. Certainly,
All right.
certainly. Let's take 5. Who's yes?
We off the record?
No.
Okay.
Oh, shit. My bad. Oh, God. No.
I don't know.
Oh, Cliff?
We have,
I think the intent of the board was made clear. I mean, if the board wants to go back and, redo it, they can do it just to cover themselves, but
Yeah.
I thought the motion was to deny.
The motion was to deny. Ryan, it was a faux pas. Could you make sure you bleep that?
Yeah, I see no problem with it.
I don't see an issue. The motion was for denial, and the vote was, the majority was to agree with the denial.
And it was consistent with all of our statements.
Right, so I don't see,
And the intent of the board was made
I,
clear.
I think it's clear that in the denial record, if you vote for the denial, that's, the yes vote is for the denial.
Just want to clear it up here.
Yeah,
now.
that's fine.
Really, yeah.
That's,
We got to clarify, yeah.
I think we just clarified it.
But are we on the record now?
Yes,
We're on the record.
Remain on the record.
Yes.
yes.
And I must apologize for my outburst. That is the first time in my life I've ever used profanity.
I'm gonna start
We
soon,
have,
too.
Well, that was you.
going on new business here. PSE&G is asked to be continued. They're asking to be continued, I do believe, to the June 3rd meeting without additional noticing. They noticed tonight, and they're asking if their notice be essentially carried. I suggest to have all participation in the board, that it be kicked to June 17th for the public hearing on June 17th. And the board has to make a decision with or without noticing.
I'll sit here right now and say, that length of time, you've got to note.
I agree, but that was,
That's what we talked
Notice
about
should be
today.
given.
and there was an extension for the time for the board to act. That's my understanding that they gave the board an extension for the time to act through June.
Right.
So
They have to renotice.
they have to renotice, and is the board comfortable with June 17th, which is the third Wednesday? Does it come back and tell PSE&G it's the third Wednesday?
I probably won't be here.
They're requesting the third, but again, to have the full board, I think we'll have a full board on the 17th.
I think we have American Legion Convention that week. I'll just double check.
Will we have something approaching a full board, or?
Well, that's the thing. I do believe that one of our members has a conflict on the
Okay.
first, typically a conflict.
On the third?
On the third, because what had happened in the past, we used to have one meeting a month.
Right.
And then we went to two. That disturbed some people's schedules, because that's just the way it was. On the major applications, the high-intense applications, I'd like to see them all on the third Wednesday to give all the board members a chance to participate of a potential conflict on the first Wednesday. That's why I'm just suggesting the 17th.
Makes perfect sense to me.
Okay.
Whatever's the sense of the board is fine. I'll make sure I'm here whenever you need me.
Okay, so I will get back to, we'll let PSE&G know it's the 17th that they have to notice, and I will confirm that the extension with the time to act is,
The end of June?
is through June.
I have a conflict on that.
Okay.
So we talked about that.
Oh, that's
Okay.
right, you're out anyway.
You rag anyhow?
Yeah.
Okay,
If there's any issues, obviously let me know.
yeah.
I'm a customer.
Do we want to do that?
No, you have to. No,
I think we've done what we need.
yeah.
Yeah, they have to renotice.
Mr. Chairman, do you have any discussion or chairman's comments? We just discussed PSC&G, so we're at the bottom of the agenda.
Nothing yet. It's just good to have the whole team back together.
Do we have a big agenda coming up?
On the 15th of April, we have the climate-controlled self-storage that was carried, or extended, not carried. It was rescheduled.
Right.
We have a residential application on April Fool's Day, April 1st. And then we have to schedule the 206 self-storage application, which will be in probably May. And then we have this on the 17th. So we're winding down in terms of backlog.
Okay.
I don't see, we'll circle back on this in May or June, but it might be appropriate to go back to one meeting a month if we get the backlog all
Yeah.
caught up. Especially with summer vacation. Right. So I'm not aware of anything. We have the 17th on this one, but the only thing, the schedule ends in May on the 206 self-storage applications, which is where the old diner was, now it's where the excavator is. The board heard a car wash many years ago there. We have that application, and then the 2030 on April 15th, and then the residential application.
Right.
Roberta, are you here on the first, April 1st?
Actually, I will be here April 1st because we had to switch our meetings, so I can be here.
I won't be on April 1st.
Okay. Okay.
Grandpa did it.
Wife and I are skating.
There you go. My wife and I have been trying to get away. Okay, no other business come before the board?
Roberta, I have a certification for you to sign. No, I'll bring it over.
Someone like to make a motion to adjourn?
I'll move.
Move second, all in favor?
Aye.
Carried, let's go.